Are you thinking about moving your family to St. Louis, Missouri? Well, stick around because I'm going to talk about 14 things that you need to keep in mind before making your move to St. Louis, Missouri. My name is Kevin Dewey and I'm a realtor here in St. Louis, and I specialize in helping families just like yours make the move from around the country to relocate right here to St. Louis, Missouri. So if this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, then click the little bell so you're notified every single time I upload a new video, because all my videos are all about what you need to know before moving to St. Louis, Missouri. I get contacted all the time by other families who are looking to move their family here to St. Louis, Missouri, and I absolutely love helping them. So give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a DM, send me an email, however you want to get in touch with me. I would love to hear more about your family, what your goals are, what your lifestyle is, all that kind of stuff, so we can find you the perfect house on the perfect street in the perfect neighborhood that's going to fit your family's needs. All right, so this list we're going to get into here is going to be about some negative things about St. Louis, just kind of make sure that you can handle these things if you make the move here, but also I'm going to share some different quirky things about St. Louis that maybe, since you're not from here, when you move here, you're going to hear different terms and phrases and just kind of be wondering what the heck is that all about? So we're going to kind of get into those kind of fun things here now. So one quirky thing about St. Louis is that people ask all the time, hey, where did you go to high school? And so some people think that that's a negative thing because they think it's a way to put somebody in a box and kind of slot you as far as upper class, middle class, lower class, just based on the area and where your high school is and stuff. But I don't know, I kind of look at it as a positive and a fun way to kind of try to find common ground and find mutual friends among people. So St. Louis is, it's a mid-sized city, right? So it's not a super small town. But it does have a small town feel to it. And so, a lot of times you'll ask somebody where they went to high school and they'll say, a neighborhood school, and you probably know a handful of other people that went to that high school as well, if you're from St. Louis. And so it's just kind of a way for you to be oh, do you know so-and-so? Okay. And then you can kind of find mutual friends that way. So it's kind of a way to, find some common ground and some mutual, friendships and that kind of stuff as well whenever you're meeting somebody new. So since you're not from St. Louis, obviously, and you're just relocating here, all you have to do is tell people, hey, I'm not from here. But on the flip side of that, people are going to be really interested in where you came from. They're going to be oh, no kidding, where'd you come from? Because a lot of people, that live in St. Louis, we, for me and my wife, born and raised, we've lived here our whole life, and a lot of our friends are the same way. St. Louisans kind of get excited whenever people from other parts of the country move and relocate to St. Louis because we think it's kind of a hidden gem in a great kept secret city in our country, just because there's so many great things about living here. And so we're going to get excited and ask where are you from and stuff, and they're going to be eager to kind of tell you about different parts of St. Louis, and just they're going to be eager to share more about St. Louis too. So just kind of be prepared for that as well. All right, so St. Louisans take a whole lot of pride in 4 main foods that are kind of known for, that St. Louis is known for, all right? And so they are toasted ravioli, gooey butter cake, pork steaks, and Imo's pizza, all right? And so kind of those 4 foods, people are going to ask you, if they know you're not from here, once you relocate here, you're probably going to get asked the question oh, have you tried toasted ravioli? Oh, have you tried Imo's pizza? Oh, have you tried, a pork steak? What the heck was it? Oh, gooey butter cake. Yeah. Have you tried gooey butter cake? And so, and they're all phenomenal things. So gooey butter cake is one of my favorite cakes. As a kid growing up, I got a sweet tooth, and so it's got confectioner sugar in it. It's got cream cheese in it. I mean, it's terrible for you, but it is so freaking good. And so, when you come to St. Louis, make sure you get a gooey butter cake. And actually, I kind of prefer the homemade version. I mean, most things are better homemade, but a lot of times if you go to a bakery, you'll find, better versions of a cake or a pie. But really, whenever I get a gooey butter cake at a bakery, it never tastes as good as just the simple homemade recipe for it. So I'll actually, I'm going to put my family's recipe, and it's not a family secret recipe or anything. I think it's a pretty much the common gooey butter cake recipe that people use. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in the description of this video, so that even if you don't relocate here, you can go ahead and try to make a gooey butter cake for your family, and kind of let me know how you like it in the comments. Or actually, if you've ever had it before, let me know what you think about it in the comments as well. So then there's Imo's pizza, which is Imo's pizza is it's a super, super thin. If you've had thin crust pizza before, I guarantee you it's nothing even remotely close to Imo's, because Imo's pizza is it's cracker thin crust. It's super, super thin, but it is so good. And it's also made with a cheese called Provel, and I think Provel is a mix between provolone and mozzarella cheese. So good. So also, if you've ever tried Emo's Pizza before and you're not from here, let me know that in the comments too. I'd love to hear what you think, because a lot of times we find that, like, St. Louisans love Emo's, but people that, come in and relocate here, they're, it gets mixed reviews. Some people are like, it's okay, but it's not like all the hype. But other people love it, and other people don't really like it too much. So let me know if you've ever had it. Let me know in the comments. And as far as the pork steaks go, I have no idea why they're a St. Louis thing, or even like what part of the pork the steak comes from. I think it's like from the pork shoulder or something like that. I don't know. I don't get into those details. I don't want to know. I just know it tastes really good. Put it on the grill, put some salt and pepper on it, grill it up, and then cover it in barbecue sauce. Man, it's so freaking good. Get a side of potato salad. Man, good to go. That's a good summer day right there with a nice ice cold Bud Light from the brewery right here in St. Louis, Missouri. That's a good day in St. Louis. And toasted ravioli, it's basically your typical, beef-filled ravioli, but it's breaded and then deep fried. And so it's really good as well. Then you kind of dip that in marinara sauce. It's a great appetizer. People get it for appetizers a lot. If you go to restaurants in St. Louis, it's going to be really common to see see toasted ravioli as one of the appetizer menu options on different restaurants around town. So here in St. Louis, we have bugs. And so in the summertime, you're gonna get mosquitoes, and especially, so I just actually learned this, and I'm not sure if it's accurate. I mean, I think it's accurate just based on like my own experience, but I heard that type O, people with type O blood types are more susceptible to mosquito bites, and like mosquitoes are more attracted to them. I'm an O, and so I get eaten alive in the summertime, especially around my ankles and stuff. I freaking hate mosquitoes, and it like ruins nights outside for me. I'll be honest, like in the summertime, if I don't have some bug spray on or something like that. So that's kind of a bummer. You can get your yard treated, and that kind of like different companies, landscaping companies come around and like they can spray your yard. We even have like the county trucks that come around sometimes that they're spraying for mosquitoes. I don't know how much good that does, because I still get eaten alive. But like I said, I'm a type O, and so I really think that there's something to that, because when I heard that, I was like, that makes total sense, because I could be sitting by 3 other people, everybody else is fine, and I'm getting eaten alive. So I don't know, depending on your blood type, mosquitoes may not bug you here or not. So another bug that we see here in the summertime, a lot of times in June, is June bugs. And I didn't realize that June bugs aren't really a thing like around the country, but yeah, so June bugs are like flying little beetles. They're about, I don't know, smaller than like the size of like a dime or something like that, but a little bit smaller than that. So they're big enough to be noticeable, but they don't like bite you or anything like that. But they're just kind of like dumb bugs. And then like they'll fly and just like smack you in the head, and you'll hear them like hitting against your patio back door. They're attracted to light, so whenever your lights are on inside and it's nighttime, you're gonna hear them like flying into your window and stuff. Sometimes you'll hear them up by like your lights outside, light fixtures. As kids it was terrible, but as kids we used to run around with wiffle ball bats by the like lights that are outside when the bugs are attracted to them, and we would just freaking smack them, and you can hear them clocking off the wiffle ball bat. So I don't know. Well, speaking of kids and bugs, we also have fireflies here, or actually what most people around here call them lightning bugs. So do you call them lightning bugs or fireflies? I don't know. Like, let me know in the comments what you call them, because I think mostly in St. Louis they're called lightning bugs. But yeah, so we have those in the summertime, and the kids, love kind of run around catching those things, and put them in a little glass jar and stuff. We don't keep them or anything, but it's just kind of fun for the kids to collect and run around when they're little kids. So yeah, so that's kind of bugs. And then just your typical, spiders, ants, that kind of stuff. If you have your house, treated by a pest control company like once or twice a year, you're pretty much good to go. Nothing else too crazy. Another thing you need to know before moving to St. Louis, Missouri with your family is that you're going to pretty much have to drive everywhere. It's not a very walkable city as far as, Chicago, New York, that kind of thing. You're going to have suburbs, neighborhoods, that kind of stuff with, some places, local shops and restaurants and things like that that are walkable. But, for the most part, you're going to be living in especially if you're in the county, you're probably going to be in like a subdivision, something like that. And, stores, restaurants, shops, that kind of stuff are going to be, a little bit of a drive. Just be prepared to drive everywhere. Our public transportation system here in St. Louis is not very good. Just to be completely honest, we've got some buses. We've got something called the Metro Link, which is like our rail system, and it's not great. It's not ideal at all. And so just be prepared to drive pretty much everywhere that you need to get around. On the bright side of that, it is, St. Louis is a very easily drivable city. And so just the way it's kind of set up, nothing is too far away from each other. Your drives are going to average probably between, 10 to 20 minutes, and like at the most it's going to be like, 40, like if you live in the extreme southern part of South County and you need to get to the western part of West County, it might take you 45 minutes to 40 minutes, something like that. But that's pretty much, whenever you're driving within St. Louis County, that's going to pretty much be like your furthest drive. And that's even like, with rush hour traffic and that kind of stuff. If you're a seasonal allergy sufferer, you're going to get hit with that here in St. Louis as well. So I hate to tell you, if you're already kind of suffer from seasonal allergies where you're from, you're probably going to suffer from the same things here in St. Louis. And so like, especially in the spring and the fall. And so like in the spring, pollen is a big thing. So like pollen is going to be covered. Your car is going to be covered in pollen. Like if you open the windows up on nice days, it's going to bring the pollen in the house. So whenever you go to dust or clean in the house, you're going to have pollen. It's like a yellowish, coating of dust on things in your house and your furniture. And like I said, your car, you get your car washed, you come back home, go back out. A few hours later, it's just going to be covered in like a haze of dust. That happens for like probably like a 2 to 3 week window when different things are blooming and flowers are popping and that kind of stuff in the spring. So in the fall, like for me, I'm allergic to oak. So like whenever fall cleanups are going on with lawnmowers and stuff, chopping up the oak leaves and everything, and that's all in the air, that kind of hits me pretty hard in the fall. So in like ragweed and mold and grass, I think are the main ones that we see on like the news report on the weather. Just kind of they have like the different like allergy indexes and stuff like that. So I think those are the main allergies that people suffer from here in St. Louis. So a little bit related, the weather. All right, so the weather here in St. Louis, you just got to know you're going to get all 4 seasons. And so you kind of get the extreme seasons as well. So like in the summer, it can get really freaking hot here, really hot and humid, like 90s, super high humidity, just like where you just feel gross. You go outside, you walk from, your house to the mailbox and you come back in and you're sweating because it's freaking hot as heck and it's humid as heck as well. And then in the wintertime, it can get downright cold. So like, we actually just had our first snowfall of the year. We're here in the middle of February right now, or I guess the beginning of February, first week or so of February. We had our first snowfall of the winter here in 2022. And that's pretty unusual. Usually we get, 1 or 2 snows, at least a little bit, like between like December and February. We had nothing until now. And just last week we had probably like a 10 to 12 inch snowfall with some freezing rain and sleet as well. So, you're gonna have to put up with that kind of stuff when you move here. The spring and fall here are really, really nice. Weather's, pretty much perfect besides like the seasonal allergy stuff that we just talked about. But yeah, summertime, like I said, it can get really hot. Wintertime, it can get cold. And some of our winter days are just kind of gray. It's like it's especially, and it's kind of a bummer, like when there's not snow. Like I don't mind when it's cold, if it's like snowing, or there's like cool stuff to look at, like snow. But like a lot of our winter days here are just kind of gray and just cold, and that's kind of a bummer. But it's not too extreme, where it's like a super, super long winter or anything. And like we'll get different days. Like today, it's in the 50s. Like I said, just snowed last week. Today, it's in the 50s. So the weather kind of goes up and down around here. And so you're never in a really, really cold stretch for too long, and you're not in a really, really hot stretch for too long either. But it does get super hot. It does get super cold. Kind of those two things. So like I said, I like it. I like having all 4 seasons, in the weather pattern. I think I would get kind of bored if I was somewhere where it was like 70 degrees all year round, like San Diego or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't sound too bad right now because we're in the middle of winter. But yeah, I like having all 4 seasons. So if you like that as well, you're going to like that here in St. Louis. So some of the roads and highways here in St. Louis have different names, and they can be confusing a little bit until you get used to it. So Highway 40 is a main highway that kind of goes from downtown and then takes you out west. And like the stretch between downtown and out west is kind of called the Central Corridor because it really does kind of cut straight through the center of St. Louis County. So Highway 40 is also referred to as Highway 64 or Highway 4064, depending on who you're talking to. And so that can be kind of confusing if you're new and not really familiar with that. You talk to one person, they say take Highway 40. Talk to one other person, they say take Highway 64. So you're like, well, which one is it? Well, it's the same one. So it can get confusing right there. And then there's a highway called Highway 270 that loops all around the whole St. Louis metro area. It also goes over into Illinois. And so this is the Mississippi River This is, the St. Louis, actually do it reverse this way. This is the St. Louis side, this is the Illinois side. Kind of goes around across the Mississippi and just like encapsulates the whole area. Just a big loop all around the whole metro area. And Highway 270 changes to Highway 255 like around 2 miles before you get over to Illinois in like the South County area. And so that's kind of confusing for people too, because you'll be talking about taking Highway 270 and then all of a sudden, you're on Highway 255 and you're like, oh shoot, did I take an exit? Like what happened? Why am I on 255? I thought I was supposed to take Highway 270. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. If you're looking at a house and it's near a river called River to Pear, that sounds pretty nice, right? Like who wouldn't want a house close to a river, right? As long as it's not in the floodplain, like that's pretty cool, being close to a river. Well, River to Pear it's not a river at all. So if you're familiar with like the LA River in Los Angeles, it's really basically St. Louis's version of the LA River, where it's just a massive storm drain that runs all the different stormwater from the gutters and stuff run straight into River to Pear. River to Pear then goes and empties out into the Mississippi River. And so if you're being sold, if you're looking at a house and somebody's trying to like explain that River to Pear is a great perk, I mean, depending on, different strokes for different folks, but, depending on what you're looking for, just know that River to Pear is not a river. All right, so just kind of keep that in mind. If you hear a St. Louisans call someone else a Hoosier, it doesn't mean that they think they're from the state of Indiana, the Hoosier state. For whatever reason, St. Louis started using the word Hoosier to describe someone that is more of a redneck, I guess you could say. Jeff Foxworthy's bit, you're a redneck if. Well, you can kind of swap out the term redneck for Hoosier whenever you're in St. Louis. If you're looking to move into St. Louis City, keep in mind that there's an extra 1% city earnings tax that you're going to get hit with if you live and work in the city. So it's called the city earnings tax. If you live or work in St. Louis City, you're going to get hit with that extra tax. And so, it's not bad especially if you're a city resident and you live in the city, because it covers your trash, it covers your different snow removal, street stuff. It's going to cover your water bill, and you're also going to get some extra perks. Like there's some different freebies and free different access that you're going to get as a city resident that you pay for that you get for that 1% extra earnings tax. If you're looking for a city with a cool downtown, like just like a happening vibe to it, St. Louis isn't really there yet. It is getting better, I will say. I think it is getting better, but really, unless there's something like a Blues game, a St. Louis Blues game, a St. Louis Cardinals game going on, there's really not a whole lot of activity and stuff going on downtown for families, at least. And so, we're having St. Louis City FC is our MLS team. It's going to be playing here real soon. Their stadium is being built right now, and so that's going to kind of like help, even add even more life, down there for families, especially like Union Station, which is kind of located in between where the St. Louis City FC stadium is being built and where the St. Louis Blues, stadium is. Union Station there is kind of revitalizing. There's a brand new aquarium in there. There's a big Ferris wheel. So there's different, cool stuff that's coming back, for families and stuff. So like I said, it's getting better. All right, so this is the one that you're probably waiting to hear about, and it's the crime, or at least the perceived crime rate in St. Louis, Missouri, right? And so the thing about the crime rate in St. Louis and what you see in the media being reported and that kind of stuff, it really is misleading. And here's why, okay? So St. Louis is kind of set up differently than other metropolitan areas. And, back decades ago, they decided to break off St. Louis City apart from St. Louis County, kind of decided to do their own thing. And so basically all the different crime stats that are reported by the FBI are only reporting St. Louis City. So there's the whole metropolitan St. Louis area consists of St. Louis County and St. Louis City. But you'll see that St. Louis City is just a small part of the region, and so it's only accounting for about a third of the population. And so the majority of the crimes that are happening also are in different pockets of the city. Don't get me wrong, there's beautiful, beautiful places and awesome neighborhoods in St. Louis City, but there are some different pockets where you're going to have a higher concentration of crime, and the majority of the crimes are coming from those neighborhoods. And so whenever you look at crime per person or per capita, whatever the phrase is, obviously when you're looking at a smaller population like St. Louis City and the amount of crimes that are happening down there, it's going to skew the numbers, because if most cities and most regions, they would incorporate the county and the city as a whole city region. But for whatever reason, the way St. Louis is set up, it's dumb. I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid. Especially for things like tourism and that kind of stuff. It just gives our city a bad look and a bad name. But I won't get on that soapbox. But when you look at it, it makes sense when you think about the county and the city. If that was all combined, our numbers would be very, very average. But as it is, the way it looks, when you look at the city stats, it does look bad, but it's just the way the numbers are. It's a numbers game, and it's a bad numbers game, and it doesn't fall in our favor. Like I've said in a couple other videos, like there's never been a time when I've been with my family and taken my kids. And we've got 4 kids. My wife and I, we do a lot of fun family stuff together. And whenever we're downtown for St. Louis Blues games, St. Louis Cardinals games, go to the City Museum, the Arch, that kind of stuff. I've never once felt afraid or felt like I was putting my family in jeopardy or anything like that when we were downtown. And so the downtown area itself is relatively safe. It's good. You're gonna have crime in any city, right? But yeah, we've never felt unsafe when we're doing stuff downtown. There's just not a whole lot of stuff to do downtown. So the crime and the reporting of the crime kind of is what it is. But don't let it scare you off. St. Louis is really it's a great place for families. All right, well, there you have it, the 14 things that you need to know before moving your family to St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is not a perfect city by any stretch, and we do have our quirks, but I think that you'll find that St. Louis is a great place to raise a family. So if you are seriously considering moving your family here to St. Louis, Missouri, I would love to help you learn more about the areas that are going to fit your family's needs. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email, however you want to get in touch with me. I would love to hear more about kind of like what your family is looking for, what your lifestyle is, all that good stuff. That way I can help you look at and find the perfect house on the perfect street and the perfect neighborhood that's going to meet your family's lifestyle and needs here in St. Louis.